Okay, today we're going to be talking about how to do MLA citations, okay? This is always something that I get a lot of students that ask, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to format things in MLA style? And the truth is shown in the next slide. This is why you have to format things in MLA style. Because no matter who you are, college will help you later in life, whether that's a trade school or it's a four-year college or even some of you a doctorate degree or a medical degree, right? College is one giant hoop that you have to go through. And it's made up of a bunch of smaller hoops that you also need to go through, like taking your headphones out during a lecture. Yeah. MLA stands for Masters of Language Association. They're the guys that basically, and girls, that decide everything there is to do with literature in the college atmosphere, okay? Literature and language. So the reason we learn MLA in school is because when you're in college, you'll have to cite papers according to MLA. But that's not the only reason. The MLA does have its point. I want to show you these pictures right here. Maybe you can't see them very well. What I should do is I should present this, okay? I want you to look at pictures because this is the internet that I grew up with. Okay, when you logged on and typed in a website, it usually looked like this. Crazy backgrounds. I mean, this is Space Jam's website right here. Red text, black and white background, images like this, okay? It got too complicated to read websites, and it wasn't about what was on the website, but about how it looked in the 90s. So luckily, as the internet's evolved, we've gotten to where there's a consistent format for websites. It's usually white background, black text, headlines, certain things like that, okay? And you can focus on what's on the website, the content, rather than how it looks like, what it looks like, okay? So, MLA, the reason we do it is because when we use consistent formatting, we can focus on the essence of your paper, the words that you're saying, rather than what it looks like, okay? So, the good news is sourcing, most websites will do it for you. I have a really good website that I like to use that I'll show you in a sec. But other than that, websites will do that for you. Now, MLA has 3 parts, okay? MLA has 3 parts. The format of your paper, so what it looks like, your works cited page, which is where you got your sources, and then in-text citations that point back to where you can look on your works cited page, okay? We're going to talk about all 3 of those things today, but we're going to do them in real time. So, will you please work with me as I do this on your computer, okay? So the first thing when we're formatting an MLA paper is to have a consistent font. MLA requires you to use 12-point Times New Roman font. So make sure you change it to 12-point Times New Roman. Then, once you're in 12-point Times New Roman, you're going to write your first and last name, Cody Scott. Okay? Then MLA asks you to write your teacher's name, okay? In here, that would be my name. You can write Mr. Scott, or even better, you can write Sensei Scott, or you can write Professor, if it were a Professor Scott, okay? Then you need your class name. What course is this for? Okay, in college you take courses. You'll take English 1100 and History 1250. In our case, our number is simple. It's writing 10. and then the date that you started writing, or the date that you built this headline. This doesn't really matter as much as that you have a date. The year is the most important part. Okay? So those 4 things. You also need a title for your paper, centered without skipping a line. Okay? Your title should be 12-point Times New Roman font, no bold. We have a tendency to want our title to stick out, but MLA does not want you to do that. For this essay, will you title it something related to your topic? My topic is going to be about dress code. Dress code, or mess code. Why Ridgeline should abandon its dress. Notice I'm capitalizing any word that's important. You don't have to capitalize pronouns like the and the. You don't have to capitalize words like of and its. Okay, but you've got that. Now, there's one more thing we need to do. Do I need to wait up so you can get to this point? If you don't have a title, just write, hey, remember to insert your title right here when you have it. All right, after you've written those, we need to double space them. MLA requires that your entire paper is double spaced. Do you know how to do a double space? It's this little icon right here in Google Docs, and you go double. Okay? Now, when you start writing, you're not going to skip a line between the title and the rest of the paper. It's ugly. It's so ugly. But you're actually just going to start writing your essay right here. This is my essay about dress code. And this is a terrible way to start it. Okay, but I am going to anyway. See, MLA isn't pretty. I don't know why they settled on this. Maybe it was like a compromise, but your title is the same size as the rest of it. There's nothing between the title. It's ugly, but it's what you're required to do, okay? A couple more things we need to do for MLA, all right? We also need a page number. We do the page number in a very specific way, so I want you to follow my directions exactly, otherwise it won't work, okay? So you have to go to Insert up here, Insert, and then do Page Number. It's about halfway down, okay? This is going to bring up 4 options for you right here. You want it to be in the upper, you want to choose this option right here, the first one. Okay? Notice it made a mistake already. Whoop. It made a mistake. My computer does this sometimes. Okay, it put the page number in 11-point Arial. We don't want that. It has to be 12-point Times New Roman. So change it to that, okay? Now, the computer codes this number right here to change with every page, okay? If you delete that, that's why it's kind of highlighted right here. If you delete that, it won't change with every page, okay? So be very careful in this next step. Put your cursor in front of it, and then write your last name followed by a space, okay? Now, I'm going to show you what this does if you've done this correctly, and you can test this out. If you hit Control and Enter, it'll bring you down to a new page, and it brought up Scott 2 on the next page. If I bring it down to a new one, Scott 3. That's what you want. MLA states that you should have your last name and then the page number on the top of each page. Okay? As far as formatting goes, that's all you have to do. Okay? Gage, it looks like you got an extra space between your title and the heading there. Oh, unless you're going to insert your title there later. Okay, I gotcha. Okay, as far as formatting for MLA, the look of your paper, that's all you have to do. Okay? They do get a little more detailed if you go, like they want the staple in the upper left corner, they want it at a 45-degree angle. We're not going to worry about being that specific, all right? Especially since in college you'll mostly turn in your papers online, but they do actually get that specific. The second part of MLA is your works cited page, okay? The works cited page also has specific formatting, but it's not nearly as difficult as the rest of it. First of all, your works cited page needs to be its own page, okay? So it can't, if your essay ends here, you can't have your works cited the second half. It needs to be its own page, okay? So the way you do that is hit Control-Enter, and it'll bring you down to a new page, okay? And then it'll format everything so that's always on a new page. Your works cited needs a title. That title needs to be centered, 12-point, Times New Roman font. And the title of your works cited page is, get this, Works Cited. Jackson, would you pass these out to everyone? Is everyone there? Okay, Jackson's passing around a sheet, a checklist for you that also tells you what sources look like. Okay, sources have a very specific way that they are formatted as well. Okay, so I just passed out this checklist. This checklist is going to tell you everything you need for MLA, but I want you to pay attention specifically to this where it says citing an MLA online source. Okay? Sources in MLA follow a very specific format. Okay? It's what's on here. First author, last name first, second author in normal order, title of website, publisher, URL, date of access. Okay? If you are citing an online source, you have to follow this format, which means you're going to have to look up who the author is, what the title of the website is, all those things. Or you can go to my favorite website in the world, CiteThisForMe.com. CiteThisForMe.com. Okay. CiteThisForMe.com is awesome because if you cite multiple sources on this website, it'll lay them out properly in your bibliography. Okay? It'll put them in the right order. Your sources need to be in alphabetical order, which can kind of get annoying when you're doing this, okay? The website initially won't take you to this. What it'll actually do is, if it's your first time on the website, it'll look like this. Hopefully, yeah. And then you're going to choose MLA, and then all you have to do is copy and paste. You'll choose a website. Is copy and paste the URL you got it from right there. And I happen to have one right here that we can look at. Okay, this is from the NEA, the National Education Association. This is on the dress code. I'm going to plug that in here, and it should bring up everything I need. Okay, select that source, cite it, great. Okay, it's going to tell me all the stuff that it found, that's fine. Whatever it doesn't find here, that's fine. Make sure that all that stuff is correct. Put